feeling so free. One more time, music's got me feeling so free.
Good morning, Perth and Adelaide, and good afternoon to Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane and Hobart.
And even more good afternoon to Auckland and Wellington.
And from wherever you're joining us in the world today, good day from sunny Sydney. My name's Sarah Bellini, and I'm very pleased to be the host of our live event today, and very excited that I'm joined here by our Managing Director, Jerome O'Day.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you for joining us today as we launch yet another industry first in our region. A truly disruptive product that proves that an elevator is no longer only a moving box in a shaft, but is a great opportunity to elevate users' experience.
It is, very much so. And today we have a jam-packed event for you, very much focused on connectivity and the impact that that will have on our future cities, but also on ourselves, on the lives that we lead. And so we will start today, we'll be joined by AI and IoT experts, and also our team, and we're going to take you on a journey of innovation, focusing again on connectivity and design. And we're very honoured that we're also joined by our Australian partners and industry leaders in an engaging panel a little bit further through our session today.
And we hope that you will leave this event informed, entertained, and why not a bit intrigued.
So, welcome to a new era of people flow.
So, you know, we live in an ever-changing world driven by trends. And in our industry, KONE observed that there is two mega trends globally around urbanization and technological disruption.
Yes.
And let me give you some examples, especially focusing on the urbanization. So records say that in 1900, 90% of the entire population was living outside the cities. The current trend is that 200,000 people are moving in the cities every day, which means that by that rate, in 2050, 80 to 85% of the global population will name cities home. So we are moving from a world of 200 nation states towards more 600 cities, bigger and denser. What does that mean for us at KONE, whose ambition is to improve the flow of urban life? And what does that mean for you? Architect, consultant, builder, building owners who aim to make cities a better place to live. So it's obvious that our appetite for new technology, how we adopt, how we experiment is very, very high. And again, let me give you some example. If you look at Apple, so they released the iPhone in 2007. And guess what? This year we are already at the 12th version.
Yes.
Which means that the speed for change is really there. Uber made a revolution in this transport industry, and now they are even delivering and extending their business model up to your doors, delivering food. It sounds obvious today, but this change has been like very fast, past 10 years, you know. And I'd like to highlight not a new technology, but the QR code that has been here for quite a while. But look at how many times we use QR code now compared to in this unprecedented time, compared to before COVID. So it's exponential. Now we use QR code almost every day. We go shopping, bar, pubs, restaurants, retail. I mean, it's just amazing. So how the users are adapting to the circumstances.
Yes.
Right? So we believe that these trends will help, or these trends tell us that our customers expect the same kind of services, and very fast. So we are here for that. And they expect something big, new, and disruptive.
They do. And the points you make are so true, Jerome, because if you consider the technology around us, for technology to make a real difference, it needs to be scalable, adaptable, and fully integrated across everything that we do.
And this technology, how we can use it, is to create more memorable moments in the city, into the building, into the elevator.
Absolutely. Now, before we launch into the main event, I just wanted to take a moment to talk to you about the question function, because today is a live event, and for us, the opportunity to have your questions come through whilst we're here today is priceless. So please feel free to enter your questions in the question box in your browser, and we will do our very best to answer some of those questions at the end of this short session today.
And now it's time to watch and listen to our President and CEO Henrik Ehrnrooth from Finland to Down Under. Let's watch it.
Hello everyone, my name is Henrik Ehrnrooth. I'm the President and CEO of KONE. I want to welcome you warmly to this event today, where we're talking about the future of our industry and what we can do with all of you, our valued customers. Over the past years, we have all experienced a big change in the way we live and the way we work. That has required a lot of adaptation and change from all of us. And clearly, during this year, we've seen that many of these trends have just been accelerated. The way we can best meet the future needs and have the best experience for our tenants and users of our building is to create a totally new way of adaptability, so that when new needs emerge, we can change very quickly and smoothly with them. That is why we're today talking a lot about how we bring a new level of intelligence to buildings to create further adaptability. But we're also talking about another critical change, which is about sustainability. How we can make buildings even more sustainable, because this is the biggest challenge of our generation. It is actually very motivating to see that when we look at Australia and New Zealand from here afar, where I work, is that many of your large cities want to be forerunners in technology and in sustainability. That's why I think we have so many interesting things to talk to you about today. Our industry has in the recent history gone through a few big changes. About 25 years ago, KONE revolutionized the industry by bringing the KONE monospace elevator, which brought totally new flexibility and a way of moving people in buildings. The next big change was the super growth phase in China from about 2005 to 2015. And again here, KONE came very strongly out, and we are today a market leader in that huge market. Today we're talking about the third very significant change that we are experiencing, which is about bringing new digital technologies to our industry, and that way create a lot of new opportunities for our customers. And then of course I'm talking about solutions such as our 24/7 connected services and our DX Class Elevators, which you will hear much more about today. So I know you have a very interesting program in store for today. So I hope you enjoy the session, and my best wishes to all of you there. Please stay safe.
Thank you, Henrik. That was wonderful. I now have the pleasure of introducing our guest speaker for today's event. I have the pleasure of introducing Dr. Katrina Wallace. Dr. Wallace is an entrepreneur in the very sophisticated area of artificial intelligence. She's also acknowledged and cited as one of the world's greatest experts in the field of the future for customer experience and artificial intelligence. And Katrina is going to share with us today some insights and expertise that will help us hopefully have a different view of the future and help us think differently and prepare for what lies ahead. So I'm happy to hand over to Katrina.
Hello, and I'm here in this beautiful city of Sydney, and what is very important to me to do before we get underway is just acknowledge the traditional owners of the land here in Sydney. That is the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and I pay my respects to their ancestors, past, present and emerging, and also to note that our First Nations people have been innovating on this land for 80,000 years. So as a country, it means that we're probably pretty good at this stuff, which is excellent because that's exactly what I'm going to talk about today. To talk about digital experience, how it relates to customer experience, and during this time, particularly over the last 5 months, what is coming forward that is unexpected. So the very most important thing to start to say is that in the last 5 months, we've seen the equivalent of 5 years of technology, innovation, development and deployment. In 5 months, we've seen 5 years. And so in this time, we're seeing very unexpected innovations coming forward. So what might be some of those innovations that we might not have expected to see? Well, there's some very, very cool things happening. For example, air taxis. Who thought they were a thing? So air taxis are now powered by a computer that is no bigger than a notebook to enable these full operational systems to finally enable us to travel in taxis by air. Second one, quantum computing. We hear a lot about quantum computing, but no longer is it just theory. It is now moving into practice, particularly through something like Microsoft Azure's quantum platform, enabling organizations around the world to finally access this fast-powered quantum computing. Another cool innovation that we've seen in the last 12 months is around digital twins. So digital twins is where there is a digital mirror of a physical environment. So if you imagine a physical building with all its engineering and lifts and operations, mirrored in a digital equivalent of it. So engineers and building managers, etc., can manage equipment, maintenance, errors in programs using the digital twin. Quite an extraordinary innovation now coming really out into the fore in the last 12 months. Something that I think is very cool, and we heard Jerome speaking early. Wouldn't it be nice if I could speak to Jerome in French? Well, if I used Langogo, which is one of the latest personal translators, really to come to maturity in the last 12 months, we would see that. It would translate within a second 100 different languages, and I'd be able to speak to Jerome in his native French language. And something important to Australia is ag and agriculture and ag tech. So what we've also seen in the last 12 months, again a very unexpected invention, is the coming of pods or cubes to grow agriculture, plants and crops, etc. A very cool company called Planty Cube, which provides a pod that crops grow in without any need for human intervention, or in fact, not really any intervention from the outside world at all. So these are just some of the cool things that have happened in the last 12 months. And alongside that, I would also put an unexpected invention. What we're talking about today is the connected elevator. I certainly wasn't aware till I got involved with KONE how extraordinary these inventions are and what an extraordinary contribution to the way we work, the way we live, is something such as a connected elevator. So why now? Why are we seeing this massive movement in technology and invention currently? Well, there are 5 reasons for that. One is its data. So we have a lot of big data, and often technology needs this data to train it in order for it to be able to be used to predict or to automate or to go into machine learning and AI. So data is one reason why we're seeing these new inventions and this massive upswing in investment in technology. The second one is computational power. So we finally have power to process algorithms, and in the last 70 years, we've seen from the time AI was invented, which is my field of expertise, in the 1950s to what we are now in 2020, we've seen a 1 trillion time improvement in processing power. So that's the second one. The third one is digital transformation strategy is now either the first, second or third core strategy for most corporates and enterprises. And digital transformation means a strategy that will essentially digitize things that were previously manual or humans were involved in it. And so we're seeing digital transformation top of the agenda for most organizations. The fourth one is we are seeing the maturing of emerging technology. And if we look at the emerging technologies, the main ones we like to talk about is artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, 5G, augmented reality, virtual reality, and cybersecurity. These would be the top 5, and we'd probably throw blockchain and cryptocurrencies on the bottom of that. So these technologies are no longer new. They've come into maturity, and with regard to artificial intelligence, we see it is now the fastest growing tech sector in the world. $35 billion invested just in the last 12 months, and during COVID, we've seen a 20% global increase in investment into this type of technology. And then the 5th factor that has really caused this massive movement towards connected things, towards the uptake of artificial intelligence, machine learning, is COVID, is the pandemic that unfortunately has had such a devastating effect on much of the world in a very terrible way, has actually forced a huge amount of innovation. So these are the 5 core factors, meaning that today we are actually 5 years ahead of where we thought we would be. And so what do some of these trends look like? How does this movement in technology and increased investment translate into a digital or a customer experience? Well, the first thing is what we call the hyper-personalization experience, or the hyper-personalization of everything. And this is where organizations have enough data on you, their customer, on your tenants, on your clients, in order to know them better than themselves. So this is super important. Hyper-personalization, hyper-automation, top level of trend in customer and digital experience. Predictive analytics becomes apparent everywhere, not just sitting with the data scientists, but used to drive all sorts of digital experiences. Smart cities, smart buildings, and connected things. Artificial intelligence, bots, and other automation we will see move from the front office also into the back office. Augmented reality, where we see a layer of information sitting over other digital experiences, will become to the fore. And a greater focus on employee experience and new models of work, which we call the future of work, which are focused on productivity. And finally, there is security. Security is everything. It will become everything and must continue to be linked to privacy and keeping customers' data secure. So what does this all mean for you? It means that I believe all of us need to be digital experience leaders, and it's not just left to the customer experience or the marketing department. I encourage you, as we go through this discussion today, to really think about how do you become a true leader in digital experience. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Katrina. That was fascinating. And we will hear more about artificial intelligence and the Internet of Things a little bit later in our panel discussion. And we're going to be joined by industry leaders from Mirvac and Sign in that discussion around connectivity and the impact on future cities and urban environments. So you definitely won't want to miss that. So please stay with us. But first, it's time. It's time to meet the new brilliant class of elevators that we're here to launch today. DX Class Elevators are the next era, leading with digital connectivity and a truly redefined user experience. So let's meet DX.
We could tell you a lot about our new elevators, their features, materials, and colors. But what really matters to us is how they relate to you, how you experience elevators, how our new smart materials can reject dirt, microbes, even fingerprints, and can deal with wear and tear, how users of buildings can connect in new ways, and how you're able to create new connections all the way from entrances to home doors and office desks. Our solutions can make your life easier, richer, and more intelligent. This is why our new elevators have built-in connectivity. So whatever tomorrow brings, you'll be ready. By making the core of your building updatable, you're able to meet future needs and increase the value of your building. Entering the new era of elevators, KONE DX Class Elevators, connecting more than floors.
Hello everybody, I am Teppo Voutilainen and leading the volume elevator business globally at KONE. I'm very excited because today we're launching the DX Class Elevators to our Australian and New Zealand customers. I wanted to personally join this session with you all as Australia and New Zealand are very close to my heart. I have visited the region over 10 times since 1995. I have worked there in 2009 and I have also lived in Asia for 15 years. So very much delighted to be here with you. I strongly believe that DX will allow us at KONE to be even more relevant to you, dear customers, helping you make better business with your customers and delighting the end users. We do not know all the future needs, but KONE's promise is that with our DX digital platform, we can link the future needs to the equipment that you buy from us today. Therefore, the DX Class Elevators are future-proof. Over the past 10 years, I have seen how the Australian and New Zealand customers have been at the forefront for asking new innovations from KONE. How do we help you succeed in differentiating from your competitors in the local markets where you operate? Seamless experiences play an increasingly important role for exciting the users in the building. We have also seen that COVID-19 pandemic is encouraging us to rethink how people wish to live and work in the future. And we need to be flexible enough to react to those changing needs. DX is all about creating more value to you, dear customers. And there's 3 key value elements, pillars of value that we hope will resonate with you. Firstly, we want to create value with connected people flow solutions. At the core of this is that we are committed to bring inbuilt connectivity with every elevator we sell and deliver to your precious sites. This built-in connectivity will allow for unprecedented innovations to come to life. Be there KONE solutions, you can actually link your own applications to the elevator as well, or you may identify third-party ecosystem solutions which talk with your elevator seamlessly. Delivery robots, for example. The second key value element is differentiating with a redefined user experience. We at KONE wish to bring new experiences through all the senses to your buildings. So what you see, what you hear, what you feel, and what's your emotional landscape will all be affected by the great innovations we're bringing to the elevators. The third value element is all about being a partner for smarter buildings. We have a range of digital tools and services which help you, dear customers, plan the optimal people flows in your building and make the best designs for your existing or planned new buildings. And that's an important additional message I want to highlight. DX is all about addressing the needs of your new buildings, but also your existing buildings, which are fighting fiercely for tenants alongside the competing new buildings which are cropping up in the cities around us. Our message is that any elevator can be turned into DX-capable elevators, interacting with your own applications or with various other third-party innovations. I encourage our teams to work together to define what user experiences could best suit the needs of your buildings. I'm very much looking forward to kind of co-creating the future with you, dear customers, and I'm eagerly awaiting for kind of new use cases and new Aussie partners to be identified that we can then scale to the global markets. Thank you.
To everyone on this webcast across Australia, New Zealand, and in other parts of the world, good morning or good afternoon. I'm Basil Carlo Stella, and I'm here to talk about digital connectivity as a standard. I'm going to provide 3 great examples which demonstrate the value of connectivity with lifts. Over the past decade, and particularly this year, we have witnessed many digital innovations. Now, these innovations were made possible by a revolutionary development about 20 years ago. This revolution was triggered by the first web-based API that was developed. APIs are transformational and continue to transform our lives. We use APIs many times every day without even realizing it. It's what makes the digital economy go around. APIs provide the simple connectivity between two digital systems consistently every time. Let me give you an example which we're all quite familiar with. When we want to go to a destination for the first time, we typically reach for maps. We enter our point B, and an interesting thing occurred 3 years ago. For the first time, Google and Apple offered the option of public transport. When I saw this, I thought, how does Google manage and maintain all the public transport timetables? Well, it's actually very easy. What the Google Maps does, it sends a request to the public transport website that they're interested in, and the data is provided to them, which is then presented for you. This is easy standardized integration between two digital systems. So what does Google Maps have to do with the future of elevators? From today, for our New Zealand and Australian customers, DX Class elevators will be available that send data and receive commands over the air as standard. That is, built-in connectivity as standard using APIs. This provides our customers and ecosystem partners an open platform, one that welcomes development and changes. This means the connectivity of KONE DX to other systems is essentially unlimited and allows for the future needs to take full advantage of this connectivity. Now let me take you through one of those examples. Blind Square is an ecosystem partner of KONE. So their app is one of the most widely used navigation tools or aids for the blind or visually impaired to travel. So when we navigate an unfamiliar building for the first time, it can be a truly daunting task. For the blind, it can be truly confusing. At a German vocational centre, Blind Square connected or plugged their app into the KONE lifts. This now allows an experience for the students which takes a lot of confusion and it gives them a lot of independence back. And this is made available through the use of APIs linking the app to KONE's lifts. Another example is, consider yourself returning from shopping. You arrive at your apartment. As you get to the security door of your building, you pass your hand in front of the access point. This then registers you as a resident or validates you as a resident and opens the door and calls you a lift with your designated floor. This is an experience that's possible because the security system interfaces with the lift system using an API. And consider yourself leaving this apartment. Alexa, see you later. Will turn off your lights, shut down your aircon, and call you a lift. A visitor's experience when they come to your workplace is one that's quite important. So are they greeted with a smile? Are they kept waiting for too long? Is the check-in process quite smooth? This is where the visitor management system plays a key role. Now Sign, who is an ecosystem partner of KONE, who are based in Adelaide, this is the space they operate in and are one of the leaders. So you now picture your visitor coming through the building, they approach in the lobby, they get to the visitor management system, they're registered and validated, and the system will then call them a lift and direct them to a lift which will be waiting for them with their floor already allocated. And this is possible with Sign's integration of their system into KONE's lifts using APIs. The possibilities are endless. In hospitals, the movement of automatic guided vehicles to transport linen from floor to floor is possible with the simple integration into the lift system. The hotel operator that wants to use in-room service robots to do deliveries can easily interface the robots with the lift system and move them around, and then they can return to their charging stations when required. The facilities manager, who requires their lift service and maintenance status to be integrated into the one system, can do this by plugging their asset management system to KONE's lift and service maintenance status. This is the world of digital connectivity through APIs, and KONE's DX is ready. It opens a world of customer and third-party applications, providing a rich user experience not previously possible. Imagine the possibility. What will you connect?
When elegant design and technology come together, it creates a unique and personal experience. Many of us ride in an elevator every day as part of our journey. In fact, it's more likely that we take multiple daily trips in an elevator. So why not have an experience that informs, entertains, and even inspires? Once inside an elevator, we're surrounded by textures, patterns, colors, and lights that speak to our senses. But when was the last time you remembered an elevator ride? That's where we started. We wanted to create more memorable experiences for our customers. Our customers were looking to be more connected with nature while having a smooth, comfortable ride. Natural wellness brings the serenity of nature indoors. Let me show you how. Imagine if we could bring the gentle calmness of nature indoors with us. Now, how about an environment that stimulates the mind through vibrant, bold colors and finishes? Creative life is energizing. It truly stands out. Finally, what if we were influenced by timeless designs that are inspired by heritage expressions? Modern heritage is classic, elegant, and truly timeless. We built our design offering from the ground up with 3 simple design directions using a single color palette. We wanted to simplify the selection process for our customers and take the conversation beyond the finishes. Our new color palette combines our most popular base colors with our new standout colors to achieve a differentiated look and feel. We also introduced new functional materials such as anti-scratch, fingerprint resistant, and antimicrobial, a very timely and much needed solution. Sustainable materials also play a huge part in our new DX design offering. They not only provide textures that remind us of nature, but also respond to a growing demand in interest in sustainability. But what if you could further control your environment by bringing your playlist along with you? Music.
Music got the best in me. Ever since I was a child. Now it's showing its ugly face. What can I do?
Baby, don't stop it. And give me your love, give me your love, give me your loving. Say that you want, say that you want, say that you want it. 'Cause this is my love, this is my love. Can you feel it? Can you feel
How cool was that? No more awkward elevator silence. We've also made our familiar tools better, more accessible, faster, and fit for the future. Our elevator planning tool allows for full control and transparency, so you can plan and select just the right elevator online. Our Car Designer tool is an impressive way to design and create your elevator. You can even spin it in 3D. The mobile version of our Car Designer allows for VR and AR, so you're able to walk inside the elevator as if you're already there. We're serious about sustainability. This is why our engineers and consultants will work with you to create the most energy efficient solution possible for your project. And this is why we've been improving on our energy calculation tool, allowing you to quantify consumption and compare. Our design offering will continue to evolve. That's the beautiful thing about DX. We look forward to having conversations with all of you regarding these new design directions. One thing's for sure, the elevator experience will never be the same.
Are you ready for a connected future? Today, a person carries, on average, at least 4 to 5 connected devices. They allow us to communicate, work, and entertain, sometimes without the touch of a button. And that's just the start. Connectivity enables the creation of completely new experiences, from fridges to lights, and from windows to central heating. The average household has at least 10 to 17 connected devices. That number will rise. Buildings everywhere are becoming smart. The various systems within buildings are increasingly integrated. They already communicate with the devices we carry. This enables seamless and intuitive people flow experiences in our urban world. Most of us live in cities, and our numbers are rising. In coming years, how we connect in urban hubs will become the foundation of the human experience. Worldwide, we now have over 30 billion connected devices. By 2025, that number will reach 75 billion. Can you sense the future? It's connected.
Well, that was awesome. I just hope we get some music over the top of us sometimes. So in today's panel discussion, we're going to be talking about what makes buildings intelligent and what learnings have come out of this year. So we know that technologies evolve faster than buildings, and certainly Kat gave us a good insight into that, but I think we all knew that to an extent, maybe not quite to that extent. So how do we design and when we don't actually know what's coming up? So we'll spend about 15 minutes to talk about 3 key topics around flexibility, integration, and connectivity. So with that, I'll introduce the panel. So I'm pleased to welcome back Dr. Katrina Wallace. Great to have you, Kat. And Ramesh. So we've got Ramesh Narayanan, who's the asset manager or technology manager with Mirvac, one of Australia's leading and most innovative companies.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Great to have you. And it's fantastic to have the CEO and founder of an Adelaide-based Australian technology success story, Sign. And we heard the story of Sign earlier when I was speaking. It's great to have you. It must be pretty tough at the moment in Adelaide for you guys. Anthony, we're all thinking of you, and certainly for everyone in South Australia. Keep strong, and we're behind you. So keep that going.
Thanks, David.
No worries. And it'd be great if maybe just give us a little bit of a background. What was the inspiration that led to the success of Sign?
Look, it's really nice to see everyone today. We started this journey with people coming into the airline industry, Basil. We thought that the efficiencies that the airlines started by checking people in efficiently, I think that was the whole genesis for the project, and we started to really implement that kind of technology on mobile devices and iPads, and we've been really lucky to have great tenants, landlords and technology partners in this journey to start to put this software and these experiences into multiple sectors, from industrial warehouses through to office towers and now hospitals.
Okay, awesome. So maybe if we just move into the first topic that I mentioned, which was flexibility, and I might, Ramesh, get you to give us some feedback, is that one of the benefits of an intelligent building is that through flexibility, it does allow for the building to make changes automatically.
Yep. Yep.
So what is the level of flexibility that's required, and to what extent has this changed over the past year?
Good. So flexibility is key. It's so critical. I probably use the word adaptability probably a bit more, and adaptability could be the word of 2020 when you think about what we've gone through. So I think it's making sure that we're adaptable. It is so important. When you think about the rate of change in technology, and Kat sort of touched on it before, 5 years in 5 months, we need to make sure that our buildings are relevant, they're future-proof, they're scalable, and we can handle whatever technology gets thrown at us. So, over the last year, I think we're finding that our customers are becoming a little bit more sort of sophisticated in what the buildings can actually offer in terms of data and connectivity, and how we could improve the workplace experience. So it's key. It's something that we need to make sure that we're always building into our product. But I think that's probably more from a building perspective. I think from a software angle, and Anthony and I chat quite often. It'll be really interesting to see what your thoughts are on the changes in the last 12 months.
Look, the changes in the last 24 hours have really highlighted flexibility. Look, to summarise where I think we're at is we're seeing a really accelerated shift to what I'm calling a two-way trade between people and the different types of people coming to facilities. Facilities want to know more, and buildings want to know more about the people even before they arrive. And the flexibility with work from home, with work from the office, what we're seeing happening, and you all are seeing happening very quickly, is that people want to know a lot more about their facilities and their buildings before they arrive as well. So we're really seeing with work from home and rotation of teams in smaller teams, that's the flexibility that we're seeing drive this two-way trade between people coming to a building and what the building needs to tell these people before they come.
And in reality, some of that flexibility we already have in buildings is quite fortunate, because if this had occurred 20 years ago, the situation would have been very different. Yeah. So Ramesh, I'll go back to you, and thanks for changing the topic title to adaptability. That's fine.
Sorry.
Anyway, this all sounds great, but what are some of the challenges
Yep.
around getting to the point of having flexible buildings?
Yep.
And how do you make it happen?
Sure. So I guess the big thing is, and again, given the rate of change in tech, is there's a lot of noise out there, right? So it's about trying to focus on the principles of the building. The analogy I always use is we're just building the iPhone. We're building a smartphone. We're building a secure, open, highly connected platform that our customers should just be able to come in and plug in apps as they go. So I think it's really important to focus on that foundation, on that platform, and before you start thinking about what's possible, and then that gives us the ability to make sure that we're focused on that, and that we can adapt. Sorry for changing the title, but we can adapt quickly because
Yep.
we've focused on that platform.
Okay, fantastic. So I think that leads us nicely into the next topic of integration. And to be honest, it's sometimes quite hard to separate these three topics that we've selected. But when we talk about integration, there are many ways that we can do that. On the one hand, we can do that through an electromechanical switch, or we can do it through software drivers. I talked about APIs earlier. It would be good, Kat, if you can give us, what are your recommendations to get the most out of integrating systems within buildings?
Yeah, well, one thing we talk about now with regard to technology is the need for tech platforms to be API driven. So without any doubt, new platforms or even old platforms need to be API connected. And that means essentially they've just got some connectors into other software. So we definitely see that that is something to aspire to, although we know that it's not particularly easy to do. Certainly if you're building new software, to build it in an API-driven way is the way to go. But we know that there is some challenges around organisations with existing software being able to fully integrate it into all the things or devices that it needs to be connected to. And I was super interested in Anthony's view on this, because Ant, you probably have to connect in and integrate into a whole bunch of platforms. We know it's not the easiest thing in the world, right?
It's not, Kat. And I think your statement at the beginning of this, that, you know, there's been an accelerated shift and things have come forward 5 years, couldn't be any more true. We're now seeing new buildings, existing buildings. You know, APIs are not just three-letter words that have been bandied about. It's essential that all of the systems at least have a form of connection with modern cloud-based software. And the reason for that is because contactless access, contactless destination control, thermal screening, density management, all these big themes that are, you know, becoming, you know, not just future states, but absolute requirements for health and safety are only possible if the kit in the building is able to actually have a relationship, a digital relationship with other systems. And that's happening extremely rapidly. And the best of breed companies are really, you know, rising to that challenge quickly.
And Basil, a lot of, I know our audience, we technologists tend to use these acronyms and terms. And can you explain what an API is? That may be something that I should have done to start with, but
Look, it allows, it's a common interface between some pretty old systems that are in buildings and some pretty modern systems. So there needs to be a bridge. There needs to be a set of protocols between hardware, software, cloud, on-premise. And so I think, you know, at the highest level, an API is a way of allowing interoperability between multiple systems and a real-time exchange of data. You know, for an example, really bringing it to life is if you check in as a visitor or a contractor or a tenant on a mobile app like Sign, you want to be able to be routed straight through a KONE system and an access control system. You don't need to touch buttons. You want to be taken straight to your floor, destination floor. And that's only possible by our system, talking to KONE systems, talking to other building management systems, and that's all going to be underpinned by an API.
Okay, thanks Anthony, and thanks Kat for taking over the show. Excellent. So I think really what we're hearing is that obviously to get the effective integration and make the best use of data in a streamlined way is really the implementation of APIs, which is a key shift in a lot of the direction, obviously, the things are going in. However, there are many proprietary systems out there, and these really restrict this open, you know, communication that we're looking for. So I might throw this to you, Ramesh, because it would be interesting, how do you strike this balance between proprietary and open systems, and what has Mirvac's experience been?
Yeah, first, you don't strike a balance, you just chuck out the proprietary systems, is the way I'd say it. You need to be open, you need to be able to talk to various systems. So one of the legacy issues I guess we have with older assets is the proprietary systems that are just, they're sitting in the corner just running by themselves. There's no way to interact with it. There's no way to really, you know, extract that data and find insights. So it's a massive problem for us in our industry. And I guess, you know, the last 3-4 years has really been a shift to that open system. And a lot of, you know, landlords in Australia are just saying, look, no, we're not going to be connecting in that system if it's not able to connect to something else, because you know, you're just selling yourself short. You're putting yourself into a box and saying that's going to run by itself, and that's just not how we can work.
Yeah. So I mean, that clearly is a flag to the industry also, really moving ahead with where everything is going.
Yeah.
And certainly which is quite evident from this DX launch, KONE's position is obviously on having open systems and opening up a level of functionality into the lifts which traditionally hasn't been there. So that's fantastic. So I think when we talk about, you know, integration, we talked about the two systems talking together. We know this has been around for, you know, quite a long time. However, there's an added emphasis today on digital connectivity and data in the broader picture, and Anthony touched on this earlier. But maybe if you could expand a little on that, what does that offer us, Anthony, in terms of this, I suppose this wealth of data?
Yeah, look, I think the wealth of data through connectivity is well and truly underway, as we're seeing 30 billion connected devices, whether it be a mobile app, a tablet, a digital interface at the building level now. We're well and truly seeing that get underway. The amount of connections is providing so many data points. I think the building facilities industry has been fascinated and fixated on data volumes, huge data volumes coming from machines and from physical objects in the building. And now we're starting to see through 4G, 5G and beyond that the connections that are coming from personal experiences, as KONE would call it, people flow, the different personas, the different types of people arriving, their journeys, their missions, their durations, all of this data is starting to accumulate. And I think, honestly, we're all only at the beginning of starting to understand how powerful that data can be for the enrichment of the everyday lives of the tenants and visitors and the building itself.
Okay, excellent. And I think here that clearly the connectivity provides the potential to collect a wealth of building data and to optimise performance and the well-being of users. Now, you touched on this. It would be interesting if you could expand a little on that, because you're sort of stretching it into AI in your discussion earlier.
Right, Basil. Yeah. So data is everything, and data is a currency now and will continue to be a currency. And if we think about where artificial intelligence will take us in the next 5 years, we'll see 40% of jobs in a lot of the banking, retail, hospitality, tourism, telecommunications automated. We will also see a huge amount of other functions in the back office automated. Now, data is the secret to this. And why that is because if we think about what artificial intelligence is, it's data, algorithms, analytics, and automation. So the data that's being collected now, even though it may not be going straight into AI or other similar tech, it will be used eventually for that. So we should encourage everybody to be data-centric in how they go about it. And when they do that, very dear to my heart, is how they do that responsibly and ethically, making sure that there's a good representation in the data of communities and the population, because we know that unethical data and unethical AI can go really badly. So what I think is stunningly insightful, important now with something like a connected elevator is just the data that can be collected on individuals, whether they're customers or tenants or other types of workers, really to help us think about what the future of work will be, what the future of shopping will be, and data is where it all starts.
Okay, it's quite interesting. And in fact, there's a bit there I found a little bit scary, because what I understood was that if there's organisations out there that are not collecting the data, and their competitors may be, or someone else in the industry, it means that when the AI kicks off, the company that has the data already managed effectively, it means that they can move into this AI space a lot more rapidly.
Completely.
And what sort, do you have a view, like how many years typically would it be to train up AI?
Well, it's very fast now. So even the AI that my company does, we build subject matter expert brains for organisations. Instead of asking humans questions, you can ask the robot questions. We can spin that up in a matter of weeks. So it's no longer that it takes years and years to train these machines. So, and we know that in the last 12 months, there's been $1.2 trillion moved from those companies without AI to those companies with AI. So those who have got the data and can get ahead on this journey will absolutely outcompete the others.
So without the data, you could basically be looking 2, potentially 3 years to get to that level.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting, I think, for everyone on this call. So I think obviously the demand then for data collection is has to be looked at and to have a whole plan around it, how it's done. So Ramesh, what is Mirvac's approach to AI, and what are some of the challenges in getting data projects over the line? Because I can imagine it's not just straightforward saying let's do it.
No. So I think Anthony touched on it around, we are just scratching the surface when it comes to AI. We're still trying to find ways to get all the data sets in. I guess the challenge though is going back with what's that value? Because like you said, it might be 5 years from now when we figure out, oh, that's why we collected that information.
Yeah.
So getting things over the line can be challenging because you're basically articulating something that you haven't even haven't figured out yet.
Yeah.
So I guess from our perspective, it is making sure, again, that we're opening up all our systems, that we can collect that data, that we're collecting everything, even the things that we think might not be relevant today. But that's the challenge. The challenge is trying to get people to understand that and to say, well, I run this building, I don't need this information. It's like, well, you might one day.
Yeah.
And so that's sort of how we're approaching it. Yeah.
Awesome. No, thank you very much for that. And maybe just to wrap up those 3 topics, and I think what we found is it's hard to actually split intelligent buildings into 3 clean topics. And in fact, Ramesh, you even decided to change one, which is great. But really I think one of the key things, however, the open platforms and the collection of data and how you collect it is absolutely critical to get the most out of an intelligent building. And I think we probably won't wrap up right now. We'll just ask one more question because I think this is something that's, everyone is talking about today. What does the future of work look like? And also with regards to employee productivity. So maybe starting with you, Kat.
Yeah, for sure. So top on all business owners, building owners' minds is really what does work look like now? So are people going to come back on site? We know globally we're predicting that 30% of people will never go back into work. But for those who are going back and working in buildings, what can we use, how can we use connected devices, sensors, etc., to really determine how we best be of service to the workers or the employees? So top of mind as a trend with regard to future of work will be mental health and well-being for employees, and second is productivity. So I've been excited, just as I've learned more about elevators in the last couple of weeks as I get to know KONE, is wow, this is a stunning conduit and learning opportunity for tracking how people are going and moving through work in order to help their mental health, in order to see how they can be more productive. And I've got like a ton of ideas as the entrepreneur about what else you could be doing with these elevators. So future of work, employee productivity, employee mental and physical well-being are going to be big ticket items in the next 12 months.
Absolutely. No, it'd be good if you could share those ideas. Not right now, we'll do that after. And Ramesh?
I think highly customised will be the future of work. When you start a job now, it won't just be about, this is your 9 to 5 hours. It'll be what time do you have to pick up the kids. It'll take your entire life into consideration so that, I work at Mel, we want people to come back to the office, but we also understand that there is a balance that needs to be struck. People can be just as productive walking around an oval taking a call as they are in the office. And so the challenge that I think we have as an organisation is making sure that when people are in the office, they are highly productive. They come in ready to work and ready to be great. But that's going to take some discipline as well, because that's going to require people to think about their week on a Monday, not just wake up blindly, brush your teeth, get in the train and come to work at 9 o'clock. It's understanding how your week's going to be set up, understanding when you're collaborating with people, I need a collaborative space. I need to focus on the report. I need to find a focus. So I think the future of it will be highly customised, I think, to the individual.
Okay. All right, awesome. Thank you. And maybe just some brief comments from yourself, Anthony.
Look, what I think is all of these huge themes about the future of work are worth really fighting for. I think the experiences that you get outside of being really productive, seeing people in person and being able to have a joke with them and build teamwork and all of the esoteric things that we all enjoy about working together, this is a huge thing that we've all got to fight for, because people coming back into the office are definitely going to demand this two-way trade, and they're going to want more flexibility. And so the reward for using technology and using it, Kat, as you said, ethically and responsibly, this is a huge journey that we're all on a global basis. And the future of work is up for debate, but it's definitely worth fighting for, to get people back into a collegiate environment to work together.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Anthony. And with that, we essentially finish our panel discussion. Thank you very much, Kat, for your contribution. Ramesh and Anthony, that was fantastic. So clearly for everyone, is your building ready to become intelligent? Are you collecting the data? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Basil, and our industry experts. I think you'll agree with me that was a fascinating discussion. And I think I was particularly captivated by the fact that we may not necessarily know what and how the data will serve us, but the need to have that data and collect that data is critical, is absolutely critical now. So before we finish off, Jerome, I thought that we'd just steal a few minutes. I know that time's ticking on, but just to answer a few quick questions. So the first question I have here is from the question says, my building's pretty new. The lift equipment is 5 years old. So what does that mean to me in terms of this new technology you've shared today?
Yeah, thank you for the question, and I think it's a very valid question. So if you're a KONE equipment in an existing building, 5 years, it will be 10 years, 15 years. Yes, of course, we can apply and adapt all these API device, and all these connectivity services that we have seen today are available for you. Just
fantastic.
As simple as that.
And one more quick question, because I think it's very relevant. When will I be able to access and invest in this new equipment in New Zealand?
In New Zealand. In New Zealand, like in Australia, you can invest and get this connectivity now. So if you are really excited with it, you can even order it before Christmas. I'm sure that Basil and the team can make a Santa Claus here, but definitely now, and of course you will hear about us on this connectivity device much more in the coming month.
Fantastic.
But it's available now.
Thank you. Thank you, Jerome.
Thank you. And so today, you understand, we have launched our DX Class Elevator in both Australia and New Zealand, and it comes with connectivity as a standard, because we believe that it enables our customer and end users to meet their expectations. I mean, that's basically what we have heard today. KONE has a long history of first.
It has.
You know that. We have been the first to deploy and launch the machine roomless elevator, which become now industry standards. We've been the first to have this ultra-rope technologies, which means that in a high-rise building, we are able to have a straight ride of an elevator up to 1 kilometer. So we are the only company in the world able to make such a performance. And most recently, we had the 24/7 connected services, launched, I think 5 years ago, that connect our elevator to the clouds, already using artificial intelligence and getting more predictive maintenance, so which is very, very positive. And that was the first step, in a way, in this connectivity and AI experience for us. So 2021 will also be a year of first. Definitely, as we will bring you, and you understand through all the presenters, more technology, more design, more connectivity. So we expect that that our customer wants, something kind of very big, and important to face all these great challenges.
Yes, and hopefully today we've given you an insight to illustrate what it would look like to have these digital experience elevators in your building. We've also tried to illustrate the impact of standard connectivity and application programming interfaces, and the value of the full integration it creates, that the possibilities it creates, from elevator music to touchless journeys, to applications that assist the visually impaired to take charge of their vertical journeys, to applications that ensure that the visitor management system really is seamless.
Absolutely. And today we have seen a few examples of our global and local partners, and thanks to them. But there is many more to come in the future, definitely. This connectivity was infinite, so that's great.
And we also talked about design, a new wave and approach to the architectural design within elevator. And then the next step to that, combining the visual and auditory elements to really create an experience that can be unique, and to actually provide the opportunity to make every elevator ride personalised, and to inform, entertain, and hopefully inspire.
Absolutely. So we concluded this preview with new sets of tools, mobile tools that our customer can use to design, plan, even spin in 3 dimensions. We've seen that with Adam, their lift. Also, we have touched base a bit on the sustainability topic, having this EnerCalc tool that allows to have the optimum energy consumption from the lift in the buildings. And you know how it's important, sustainability, for a Finnish company like us.
It is, both for us regionally, our commitment is for us to be a leader, but also globally, we've set the lofty goal to be carbon neutral by 2030 and are progressing well to make sure that we achieve that goal.
Yeah, that's a very strong statement and commitment from our corporation. So we understand that the two megatrends around urbanization and digital disruptions will carry on and for long. Definitely, even with this unprecedented time. We all understand that this will help us to challenge more ourselves and to probably deliver more of the expectation that our customer and end user wants for future. That's, to my view, really obvious. So we all understand this DX Class Elevator is really unique. One more time, first, smart and flexible.
Yes.
And I think that really, again, will enable to elevate end user expectations. That's what we aim for.
No, thank you, Jerome. And thank you all for joining us. We will be reaching out personally to all of you that joined us, but for those of you that can't wait, please feel free to go to our website to kone.com.au or kone.co.nz to be able to see the details instantly. And a very personal thank you. It's been a pleasure to have you join us today to share this big moment and the start of a new era for KONE and the elevator industry.
And thank you again on my behalf. All the KONE team is ready to move and welcome you in this new People Flow era. So even so, this event has been virtual. All KONE employees come with me on stage and we are ready again. Thank you. You cannot touch. Well done, guys.